most major news that's probably flooding your feed right now is the end of America's longest government shutdown ever. On Monday, the Senate was finally able to pass a funding bill off to the House. The House approved it on Wednesday, and it received the final signature of approval from President Donald Trump that night. So Wednesday was a pretty big deal. Not only did the 43-day shutdown end, but the House finally swore in its newest member, Adelita Grijalva. She won a special election in Arizona more than 7 weeks ago, but Speaker of the House Mike Johnson refused to actually swear her in until the government reopened. Representative Grijalva says making her wait that long was an abuse of power that left hundreds of thousands of her constituents without basic services they deserve, and that one man shouldn't have the power to do that.
Let's understand very clearly that if I were a Republican, I would not have waited this long. If I were a man, I would not have waited this long. We all know that the rules are always different for women of color and people of color. And we have to fight against that. There is no way that this can ever happen again to anyone.
Now, Grijalva's confirmation prompted something that didn't really come as a surprise to many people. She added the final signature needed on a congressional petition to force a vote that could compel the Department of Justice to release all unclassified documents related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Colorado Republican Lauren Boebert was one of the 4 Republicans that signed off on the same petition. She opted to keep her name on it, even after being called into the White House Situation Room. The White House did confirm she was there, but insists the meeting was in the name of transparency rather than a last-minute pressure campaign. Boebert also told CNN the White House wasn't pushing her.
The president has not forced me to do anything. The president has not put pressure on me. I was not asked by the president to remove my name. Every conversation that I had was welcomed and very civil. And, it's okay for people to have discussions about things that are going on with our nation.
The House will vote next week on whether or not to release those Epstein files. But even if it passes in the House, there's really no guarantee it'll be taken up by the Senate. And it's important to mention that on Wednesday, the House Oversight Committee also released more than 20,000 emails related to the Epstein investigation. President Trump was named in several of them. The most noteworthy ones suggest Trump spent time at Epstein's home and was aware of Epstein's alleged behavior. The president has long denied those claims. The White House says the emails are a distraction and maintains the president did nothing wrong. Now, in other U.S. news, the Supreme Court has rejected a call to overturn its landmark decision that legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. The justices, without comment, turned away an appeal from Kim Davis, a former Kentucky county clerk who refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples due to her religious beliefs. That means marriage equality will not be on the docket, at least for now. And this week, Chicago is honoring civil rights icon Mamie Till Mobley, Emmett Till's mother. Till was brutally beaten and killed in Mississippi in 1955. After his death, his mother made the decision to make sure America did not turn a blind eye to the racially motivated attack that killed her son. She allowed public viewing at his funeral and gave an African-American magazine permission to publish photos of her son's brutalized body, turning private grief into a very public tragedy. Mamie went on to become a prominent civil rights activist, and she would have turned 104 years old this month. Now, to honor her legacy, there will be a celebration for her this week at the Loyola University Museum of Art, where a number of pieces honor the Till family. And after 238 years, the penny is finally headed for obscurity. This week, the U.S. Mint produced its very last one. Other coins like the nickel, dime, and quarter are all safe, but the 1-cent coin was simply getting too expensive to make, according to President Trump. Earlier this year, he ordered the U.S. to stop making them because each one costs nearly 4 cents to create. Now, getting rid of pennies isn't coming without consequences, though. Merchants now have to round up their prices up or down. And dropping the penny will create a greater need for nickels, which are more expensive to mint, about 14 cents per coin. All right, moving on to our favorite part of the week. Something we love to do here on the Culture Report is give a shout out to the people in our community who are making it a better place. And this week, week, we want to start off with an organization that is working to empower Latinas in Colorado. Hispanic Women of Weld County offers educational and career advancement opportunities to Latin women and girls in the county through things like their scholarship program. They offer 4 types of scholarships for women ranging from high schoolers applying to college to women older than 25 who want to go back to school. Now this year, they say they awarded 15 scholarships, all to women who want to make a difference.
One of the most important things that I've learned from them is how empathetic they are and the reasoning why they're wanting to go into school. It's not only just for them, but it's for others, whether it's their family, their friends, or their community.
Applications open in June and close in September, but anyone who wants to donate can do so year-round. You can learn more about each scholarship through their website, HispanicWomenOfWeldCounty.com, and make a donation directly through there on their donations page to help change a Colorado woman's life. And on to North Glen, where a teacher is combining his passion for education and comedy for a good cause. Coley Clark has been a teacher for 16 years and a part-time stand-up comic for 3. He's currently a 5th grade teacher within the Adams 12 5-star school district, which makes for a great sounding board for dad jokes, despite his students accusing him of being, quote, cringe. Still, he said that given the price of food and the lack of benefits for many, he's rallied a lineup of 12 other comics and organized a comedy show free of charge. All he asks is that people bring at least 1 non-perishable food item to enter. Items collected will then go to the 5-Star Education Foundation, which helps families in the school district who need it.
It's amazing when you see these hardworking families and they can't feed their families. So it's hard on the heart to watch that. And so I feel like this is just one more step. And I feel like this is going to get the word out to a lot of families, because I feel like there's a lot of families in our district that don't necessarily know that this foundation exists and that there is help out there.
Now, the show is taking place at Rails End Brewery on November 21st. Coley said he wants to do it ahead of Thanksgiving to help folks with their holiday meals. And if people have the means for it, they are welcome to bring more than 1 non-perishable food item. We'd love some help to figure out who deserves a shout out next week. Whether it's one person or a whole organization, we want to hear about the people who are making a difference in your community. So send us a text at 303-871-1491 and tell us about the folks you think deserve a 9 shout out. And don't be surprised when we reach back out to ask you more about your special people. Now, when times are tough, getting food on the table isn't the only struggle people face. We're talking to a woman who's helping make sure other important but basic necessities are making it homes across Colorado. Even though the government shutdown is over, officials say it's going to take time for federal services to return, like SNAP benefits used by millions of Americans. So even though hope is on the horizon, there are still countless people across the country who need a little extra help getting food into their cabinets. But it isn't just food that people have to worry about when times are tough. It's rent payments, gas, and basic but crucial hygiene items. Joining us today is Lauren Chikara, who works with Justice Necessary. This is a nonprofit that's making sure people actually get those hygiene items. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about the importance of this, Lauren.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm wondering if you could talk about why your organization is making the push to include hygiene items at food banks. Are these things often overlooked when it comes to donations?
Yeah, you can't address food insecurity without addressing hygiene poverty. And so we are partnering with the Food Bank of the Rockies to ensure that neighbors who are accessing services through pantries across the Food Bank of the Rockies network also have access to essential hygiene products. You can't address one without the other. So we are really excited to be in partnership with Food Bank of the Rockies to ensure that Coloradans who are experiencing food insecurity are able to have access to both food and hygiene essentials.
Absolutely. When it comes to hygiene, what are some of the items you've seen people need more of? Is it toothpaste? Is it like menstrual products? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, it's actually all hygiene products. You know, we know that when folks are on SNAP or WIC, they aren't able to purchase hygiene products using SNAP or WIC. So our ability to provide hygiene essentials like period products so students don't miss school, toothpaste, other oral care, deodorant, diapers are really essential. So it's every single hygiene product is really an essential product for everybody to really access and live their daily lives with dignity and confidence.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for highlighting that, because I think that a lot of people don't know that folks can't get these items through SNAP or WIC. Do you find that people often don't donate these things when it comes to like food pantries and banks? Like, is this kind of why you're encouraging folks to do more of that?
Yes, I think most folks traditionally will donate to food pantries, shelf-stable food to really help address food insecurity. And folks forget about hygiene essentials. So when Justice Necessary was founded, we really knew that there was a gap because a lot of food pantries aren't able to use grant money or federal or state dollars to purchase anything but food. And so we're trying to eliminate that gap by providing this opportunity through our hygiene kits so that food pantries have access to both food and hygiene essentials for their neighbors.
This is very, very important work. So thank you for doing that. Tell us about the impact that these donations can have on an individual or a family and how people can join in to help and add to that impact.
Yeah, so remember back to when you were a student, if students don't have access to period products, they might not be able to attend school on a regular basis. That affects their academic success, or that affects their opportunities to actually engage in extracurricular activities. Say somebody is job searching and wanting to go, to an interview, they need hygiene products to be able to show up at an interview or show up at work with confidence and dignity. And then when folks are sending children to daycare, you need to have access to diapers and wipes to be able to send your child to daycare. So, what we are doing is really by providing these essential products through our partnership with Food Bank of the Rockies, families are able to provide for their families, do their laundry, ensure that they have oral quick care, and then be able to really navigate their day-to-day lives with dignity. So we work really closely with these food pantries to provide these essential products so that no Coloradan has to really decide between food or hygiene, and that they can live their daily lives in confidence.
That's wonderful. Can people volunteer to if they want to help? How can people find you all?
Yes, so right now it's Colorado Gives Day, and so you can certainly find Justice Necessary through the Colorado Gives website. And then we have a number of volunteer opportunities where folks, actually behind me you can see folks are actually in our warehouse packing hygiene kits, because our goal is to send out hygiene kits to all of the food pantries in the Food Bank of the Rockies network starting in 2026. So it's a combination. We will always take, obviously, funding, your time, and your effort to really support providing hygiene essentials to Coloradans.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us, Lauren, and for the work you do. It's really, really important.
Thank you very much for your time, because access to basic hygiene essentials is just as necessary.
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna walk over to the kitchen now to talk specifically about which food items you should and should not donate. So when it comes to things that you can eat, the best thing to donate, unsurprisingly, are items that are shelf-stable and non-perishable. That includes things like canned legumes, fruits and vegetables, soups, canned meats like tuna and chicken, and things like pasta, dried beans, and rice. Now, you should avoid donating things you just want to get rid of, like stuff you've already opened and damaged or expired goods. This all feels very intuitive, but you might not have thought about this one. Avoid donating items packed in glass containers. Things like pickles, pasta sauce, jellies, and some condiments won't be accepted by places like Food Bank of the Rockies, so just be aware of that if you're planning to donate. Now finally, not all food banks will accept homegrown produce, but if you happen to grow some extra stuff, you can search online or use nonprofits like Fresh Food Connect, which can highlight all the spots that will take fresh produce. Just put in your zip code in the Fresh Food Connect app or website, and it'll show you where to go. If you want to help make sure our Colorado community is fed, our 9 Cares Colorado Shares Drive is going on right now. So we are teaming up with food banks around the state, and every dollar counts to help feed those in need. You can scan this QR code to get to our donations page, and you can also donate when you're checking out at King Soopers. Additionally, we'll be hosting a telethon to collect donations next Thursday, November 20th. If you want to see more Culture Report or any of our 9 News content, you can find us on the 9 News Plus app or 9news.com.